What am I doing? I shouldn't be here. Look, my bloody hands are shaking and all. Where did she put that box? I can't wear this. I'll be a laughing stock. It's all Smelly's fault. That's not his name. His name's Snell, Benny Snell. We call him Smelly for short. I played dominoes with him down the Red Line on Wednesday and Sunday nights. There's four of us, him, Archie Bakewell, Sid the Ferret and me. Oh, none of us drink much, only a pint or two. Well, we can't these days, not with our leaky bladders. Right.
Mr. Higginbottom?
Don't come in, I'm not ready yet.
No, I didn't think you would be. Did you find the costume? It's in the box.
Oh yes, yeah, I found it.
Your predecessor was about the same build as you, so I'm sure it will be a good fit.
Yeah, yes. Right then.
We're running a bit late, so stay hidden till I come for you. You don't want to spoil the surprise, do we? Can I get you a cup of tea?
Tea? No. I'm all right. Thanks very much, Mrs. Henry.
Right then. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Take your time. That's Mrs. Henry, the woman who owns this place. Bloody Smelly. A few weeks ago he was ill, you see, and so Simon the fish played in his place. And we all know what a mouth he is. Well, while we're trying to concentrate on our dominoes, he always goes rabbiting on about something or other. Talk about verbal diarrhoea. Well, anyway, we're halfway through a game when off he goes. Do you know what? Do you know what I think, he says? I think the young men of today have got no guts. Then he paused till he had 5-3 before going on. This bloke sitting next to me on the bus had those wires coming out of his ears, and when I looked at him I could see tears were rolling down his cheeks. So I nudged him, he said, and asked him if he was all right. Are you going to lay a domino or what? I asked him. Oh, he's so bloody slow. Well, eventually he played a double 3 and started again. He told me he was listening to Elgin's Nimrod or something like that, and it always made him cry. I mean to say, what's a grown man doing sitting on the top of a double-decker bus on his own, crying his bloody heart out over a piece of music? And then Smelly stopped to make it 3 at both ends, knowing full well I couldn't go. Well, I knocked irritably on the table, and he started again. What's wrong with the world today? He said. In my time, men never cried, not even when the bombs were dropping. Well, here Archie slammed down a 6-4, declaring himself the winner and making sure the landlord wasn't watching. We gathered in our 50p pieces. Well, you can't be too careful, you see. It's the gambling laws. Now, I was down 3 quid, and what with fish mouthing off 100 miles an hour, I wasn't in the best of moods, and so I said, well, how would you know? You weren't born till the end of the war was over, you silly bugger. Well, maybe so, but my father brought me up to be a man, and men do not cry listening to music, he said, and angrily, grabbing his walking stick, he got up and went out for a pee. Well, when Fish had gone, Archie wagged his finger at us wisely and said, he may talk a lot of nonsense, but I have to admit he has a point. Did you know loads of men pack in their jobs and let their wives go out to work while they stay at home and see to the kids? Call themselves men? It isn't natural, Archie said. I totally agree, jumped in Sid. Women were made to give birth and look after babies. Oh, and sob their hearts out at funerals. Men are tougher. That's the natural order of things. You're right, muttered Archie. Men aren't equipped to play the housewife. You'd never catch me cooking or looking after kids. Well, nor me, I said. Well, that's 'cause you haven't got any kids, threw in Sid, and that really got up my bloody nose. Well, that doesn't stop me having opinions on parenting, I said, and seeing to children is not a man's job. No, he's crying on public transport, threw in Archie. Well, we all nodded our heads in agreement. As Archie started to shuffle the dominoes, Fish came back. When he reached the table, a young woman we know called Jen walked towards us, shaking one of those charity tins. She's often in here, collecting for the children's hospice down the road. Well, we gave her our spare change, but just as she was walking away, she turned to Fish and said, "I don't suppose you'd consider being Father Christmas for us?" "Well, what happened to your regular Santa?" I asked her. "Oh, he had to give up. 98 he was, but the older he got, the worse he got. He drank a bit. People were beginning to notice," she said. "Go on, Fish, do it for me." Well, Fish laughed. "Not me, love. That'd mean flying over rooftops in the dead of night, and I need my beauty sleep." And he turned to us, a supercilious smirk on his face, expecting us to laugh. "Beauty sleep? Yes, you certainly need plenty of that, Fish, because you're an ugly bugger," Sid replied, and we all laughed. "No, I'm serious," said Jen. "We need a volunteer to give Christmas presents to the children. It's really easy," she said. "We provide the costume, and all you have to do is sit in a chair and hand them out. We'd be very grateful." And she looked at Fish all sad-eyed. "I've no doubt you would, but I'm sorry. You'd never find me in hospice," Fish blurted out. "They're miserable places where people go to die." Well, Jen's face turned bright red. "No, they are not," she said, and for a moment I thought she was going to burst a blood vessel. "The hospice is a bright and cheerful place where children go to be happy. It'd do you good to come and see for yourself." "Me?" Fish looked at me as if he'd been hit in the face with a wet kipper. "Me? Mixed with a lot of sick kids? Not on your Nelly," he said. Well, I saw the hurt look on Jen's face. I couldn't help supporting her. "If you ask me, Fish, your white beard makes you a perfect man for the job," I told him. "And so does your red nose," laughed Sid. "And your big belly," added Archie. "Perfect Father Christmas," I said. Oh, you should have seen Fish's face. It was as black as thunder, and we were all loving it. "Go on, Fish," Sid said. "Do it for the lady. You're always saying how brave you are." "Well, you never cried when the bombs were falling and all that," I added. "Look, seriously, Jenny," he stammered. I'd love to help you out. Really, I would. But you see, it's my sciatica. I can't have kids sitting on my knees. It'd be too painful." "Brings tears to your eyes, would it?" asked Archie. "I thought real men didn't cry." "Look at him. He's scared," Sid taunted. "Of course I'm not," muttered Fish. "I told you I'm not a well man." "Well, I thought you were brave," I said. "Afraid of nothing. Surely a few kids don't frighten you." Fish looked straight at me. "You do it then." "What?" I asked. "Well, you were just saying you know all about kids." "No, I was. Yes, you were," said Archie, and Sid backed him up. "He's right, you were, Des," he said. "No, I wasn't." I said, "Look, what I said was—" But Fish didn't let me finish. Excuses. It's you who's scared now." "Of course I'm not scared," I said, "but—" "Then what's stopping you?" asked Fish. "Well, I would do it." I said, "Of course I would," but I told him, "But you see, the fact is—" I couldn't think of an excuse quickly enough, and before I knew it, Jen was shaking my hand and telling me what a nice man I was. Then off she went rattling her tin, and I'm left holding a piece of paper with all the details, and them laughing their caps off. "Right," I said, "shut your stupid mouths," and I shuffled the dominoes. Come on, let's get this over with. Where the hell is she? Oh shit, what did I do with that bell?
Mr. Higginbottom, it's me again. Are you ready?
Hang on, Mrs. Henry. I'm just looking for me bell. I can't find it.
I have it in my hand. It was out here in the sack of presents. If you're ready, they're all waiting for you.
Well, just give me a second. Oh, shit. Come on, Desmond Higginbottom. You can do this. Pull yourself together. Right. I have to say, I think that went well. Much better than I expected. You should have seen me. I walked down the hall past all the parents of the kids, ringing me bell and shouting, "Merry Christmas, everybody," just like Mrs. Henry told me. And then I sat on this throne they'd made me. Well, she introduced me, and then each kid came onto the stage in turn and sat on my knee. Well, Mrs. Henry stood next to me and made sure I got the right present from the sack and told me the names of each of the kids. Well, I was terrified at first, but I soon got used to it, and in no time I started to enjoy myself. I even managed to say things to them like, "Now, Lucy, you've got this present because I know you've been such a good girl this year," and things like that. Oh, one little boy was so frightened he wet himself, and so, cool as a cucumber, I knelt down beside him and told him not to worry and asked his mum to help me give him his present. The boy stopped crying. He held out his little white hand and smiled and stroked my beard. "He's never done that before." "Thank you, Santa," his mum said. I felt 10 feet tall. Another kid, a cheeky little bugger, Lenny they called him, tried to pull my beard off. Well, I wasn't having any of that. And I lifted him up and put him over my knee and pretended to spank his bottom. Well, everyone laughed and he giggled his head off, and he said he would behave himself, and so I let him sit on my knee again. Well, Jingle Bells was playing on the tannoy, and so Lenny and I sang it together, just him and me. I surprised myself, I did. And when we finished, everyone started clapping, and he threw his little arms around my neck and kissed me on the cheek. I wouldn't tell at the pub, but he put a lump to my throat, and I'll never forget the smile on his little face as he ran off to his mother. Yes. All in all, it was very good. Jen came into the pub the other day and went on and on about what a great Father Christmas I'd be. "You should have seen him," she said. "He was the best Father Christmas we've ever had. The children loved him." And she planted a big smack on my cheek. Oh, I was that embarrassed. But you should have seen their faces. Oh, Fish looked like a bus had hit him, while the other three sat there with their mouths wide open in disbelief. "But, well, good on you, Des," said Sid eventually. "Well, yes," agreed Smelly. "Oh, sounds like you did a good job." "Oh, no tears?" asked Archie. "Of course not. There was no reason why there should be," Jen assured him. "Really?" he said. "Well, all I can say is, well done, mate." And he slapped me on the back, and for once Fish had nothing to say. Well, I'm sitting here keeping out of the way. Me and my wife have decided to become volunteers. It's that us. And we've come to talk it over with Mrs. Henry. Well, they always want people, not just at Christmas, but helping with the kids during the day, going round the pubs with collection tins, that kind of thing, just like Jen does. Well, my wife will be here soon. I came in a bit early so that I could mingle with the kids before we had the interview. See if they recognise me without my Father Christmas outfit on. And do you know what? Not one of them did, not even the little boy who wet himself. I asked Jen about Lenny, you know, the cheeky little bug who tried to pull my beard off. Well, I was certain he'd recognise me, but he wasn't anywhere to be seen. "Des, listen, this is a hospice," she explained. "The children here have life-threatening illnesses. You do know that, don't you?" And it suddenly dawned on me, children came here to die. And what she meant was Lenny had... I turned away. Tears welling up in my eyes. I couldn't help myself. No, Des. No, you don't understand," she said. "Lenny has got a terminal illness, but he's all right. He's been checked over at the hospital. Probably nothing to worry about. He might be back before you go." I wanted to speak, but I couldn't. She took hold of my hand and smiled. "It's not hard in here, Des," she said. "It's true there are moments of sadness, but most of the time it's bright and cheerful place. You must have noticed there's Lots of things going on. People are laughing. The whole place is buzzing, she said. Whatever happens, then you'll never forget the time he sang Jingle Bells with Father Christmas. Magic moments. This place is full of them. And just then one of the staff called for Jen, and after squeezing my hand, she left me. So I came in here to get myself together. When my wife comes out, I'll tell her where Lenny is, and hopefully he'll be back in time for her to meet him. I better go. She'll be here soon. I told him in the pub about what happened. How looking after kids is for all of us, men and women. And you're never too old to learn. And so I'll just say it as it is. Tell them all about it, even me crying. Now that's being brave. Maybe I'll be able to change a few minds about what a hospice is. Make them understand what heroes people who work here, men and women. And it doesn't mean you're soft if you cry when you're sad. Or that know that you can cry when you're happy too.